So in this example video, I'm going to show you how to set up and solve a compound inequality. And here is a great scenario that a lot of students find themselves asking. So let's say the final grade in a class depends on the grades of only 5 exams, each worth a maximum of 100 points. Suppose a student has the first 4 test scores of a 67, 82, 73, and 85. But this student really wants to end the semester with a B in the class for a final grade. So what must this student basically score on that 5th exam to get the B in the class? So first thing, to get a B in the class, typically that student must have a final score of somewhere between 80 and 89, right? So we're going to make that assumption for this problem. Okay. So we already know the first 4 test scores, but we don't know the 5th test score. So what I'm going to do is let X represent the score on the 5th exam. It's our unknown, it's what we want to find out. But we don't want just any test score, we want a test score that's going to give this student a B in the whole class. So, how is the entire course grade computed? It's computed as an average. So the final grade depends on 5 exams, okay? So the way to take an average of 5 numbers is to add up those 5 numbers and divide by 5, right? So I'll add up all 5 test scores, 67, 82, 73, 85, and the 5th one we don't know, it's X. But to average these test scores, because I have 5 of them, I will divide by 5. Now, in order for this student to get a B in the class, their final grade must be between 80 and 89. And notice the or equal to, because if the student has a final grade of 80, he would earn himself a B. And including 89, if the student were to score an 89 in the very end, she would have a B in the class. So we've set up a compound inequality. It's compound because I have 2 inequality symbols here. So in order to solve an inequality like this, what I want to do is get my unknown, my variable, isolated in the middle. So what I'm going to do is some simplification here in the middle. I'm going to add up these first 4 test scores together to simplify. So the sum of these first 4 test scores is 307. Again, we don't know the 5th one. And this needs to be between an 80 and an 89. So what I would like to do next is actually multiply by 5 to eliminate this fraction. But when I multiply by 5, I must do that to all 3 parts of this compound inequality. So I'm going to multiply the middle, left, and right by 5. Okay, now the last thing I need to do to isolate X is subtract 307 from all parts of this inequality. Okay, so this student needs to score somewhere between a 93 and a 138 on their 5th exam. But hold up. When you get your solution set in an application problem, you must always go back to the original problem and make sure that your answer makes sense in the context of the problem. So notice up here, the maximum score on any test is 100 points, including that 5th test. So is it really possible for this student to score a 138? No, it's not. So really what we need to do is say that the solution is between a 93 and a 100. So essentially this student needs to ace that 5th exam in order to pass the class with a B. And you might be asked to present this solution set in various formats, so make sure you can write your set in different notations.